This unit of curriculum was created for the online Masters in Art Education program at the University of Florida. My name is Danielle Horak, and as an artist and educator, I'm interested in play as a tool for art making and learning. This unit is tailored to high school students, should take about 4 weeks to complete, and employs a backward design approach to explore the big idea of play as an art making process. Upon completion of this unit, students should have an understanding of the essential questions: what is the nature of play? How do humans learn through play? How and why do artists play? And how does the type of play in which an artist engages affect their artwork? Students will demonstrate their comprehension of these ideas by completing fully realized and technically sound artwork that is inspired by engaging in playful activities, by expounding upon the concept of play, its nature, and its roles in learning and art making through discussions and through writing, and by investigating modes of play in contemporary artwork and employing these modes in the creation of original work. One of the lessons in this unit facilitates playing with shadows as a source of inspiration. Shadow play is an excellent way to explore positive and negative space and to warm up our students' eyes and brains at the same time. The first assignment equips students to play with shadow puppets. Students will work in groups of 2 or 3 as one set of hands is needed to hold up a sketchbook or drawing board and a source light. First, students will play with shadow puppets by copying shadow animals they see or sharing ones they already know. Then the instructor will prompt them to make unfamiliar shapes and figures using only their hands. Partners will help each other record these shadows by tracing their outlines on paper. Students will complete this assignment by choosing their favorite shadow puppet to illustrate and filling in its positive space with an image. The next assignment requires students to create larger works of art as it involves not only their hands but potentially their whole bodies. Working together, students will compose an image by casting shadows onto the wall with their bodies. They will help each other trace the images and decide what form their final work will take. Students may choose to illustrate these shadows or create Matisse-like paper cutouts to collage into a composition. The final assignment in this lesson is inspired by the work of Kumi Yamashita and the collaborations of Tim Noble and Sue Webster. Using wire, paper, tape, and a source light, students will create a shadow sculpture to cast on a freestanding poster board. If a student has a more location-specific project in mind, the instructor should accommodate as possible. The materials they use to cast the shadow must consist of more than a single piece of cut paper. We are not cutting two-dimensional silhouettes, we are using light and shadow to sculpt. Through this lesson, students will come to an understanding that even playful, simple shadow puppets can serve as the foundation for complex ideas and powerful artwork. In the second lesson, students will play by building blanket forts as a means of exploring the visual concept of space. The first part of the assignment is to create the blanket fort. Students should first move all desks and chairs to the perimeter of the room to create a blank canvas on which they can build upon. Next, they may use cardboard boxes, blankets, desks, chairs, fishing line, and other materials to construct elaborate forts, mountains, and other structures that come to their imagination. Students are encouraged to stretch their minds to include as many kinds of space as possible. Once the classroom has been transformed, students will place flashlights and source lights in purposeful locations within the space. The instructor should ask to know the stories behind these lights. Are they warm campfires, stars, the moon, aliens? Once the lights are in place, students will sketch their new environment from at least 3 different viewpoints. Then they will find a friend to include as a figure within the space, paying close attention to the relationship between the figure and their environment. The final assignment in this lesson is a composition based upon a combination of what they see and what they imagine. Ask students to use the blankets as fields upon which they can imagine any content they like as long as the blankets retain their sense of space. What do the blankets become? Cities, caves, galaxies? The possibilities are exciting and boundless. Students will then select an imagined environment to compose into a work of any medium, 2-dimensional or 3-dimensional, and with the instructor's guidance, execute a spatially well-developed artwork. Through this activity, students will learn how play can help them combine their real and imaginary worlds in their artwork and gain insights about the nature of play. The first artist highlighted in this unit is Kumi Yamashita. She is a female artist born in Japan and is now working in New York City. Her light and shadow sculptures serve as inspiration for the shadow play lesson. Later in the unit, students are exposed to the work of Wade Kavanaugh and Stephen B. Wynn before constructing blanket forts. These collaborators demonstrate a strong sense of space and imagination in their large-scale installations. They quote play as an essential part of their process. The philosophy of this unit is based in the writings of Dr. George Zakelli, the senior professor of art education at the University of Kentucky. He is an internationally acknowledged expert on play-based art teaching and has published several books on the subject, including From Play to Art. I hope this unit has inspired you to include more play-based art learning in your own classrooms.